Hello, welcome back to another episode of Let Love Be Your Guide. My name is your host, Dominique Chantel, and I'll be guiding you through this amazing experience called life. If you are new here, just a little bit about me. Let Love Be Your Guide was birthed out of me coming out of a divorce that totally wrecked my life, and I thought it was going to destroy me. And I had nowhere to go, I had nowhere to turn. And so, where did I turn? Where did I turn? I turned to my writing and I wrote a book called Let Love Be Your Guide, Volume 1. And my whole basically life and what I felt, what I went through going through my divorce, I poured into the book. Now, of course, I've grown so much since writing the book that I'm working on my second copy, which is Let Love Be Your Guide Volume 2. But I created this channel to just help us walk through life and get it right, right? Or try to get it right. And that self-love is the work that we must do before we enter into a relationship, any type of relationship, whether it be mother-daughter, mother-son, whatever relationship, you have to do the work of loving yourself. And so I do feel that God put me on this earth to give you just pointers to help you and guide you through learning to love yourself unconditionally. And that is a part of who God is. The very nature, the very essence of God is love at the end of the day. When we make decisions, it is not that He is punishing us, but it's that we have made a decision and it's a consequence of our decision. Not that God doesn't love us, but He tells us, hey, do this, do this, do this. And when we don't, there's a consequence. So I am coming to you just bearing my soul, telling you my story, what I believe that we should know before getting into any relationship. And knowing what I know now, I will definitely have taken the time to love myself. So that's what this guide is dedicated to. This channel is dedicated to teaching you to learn to love yourself authentically and in totality. And so today's episode, I'm going to talk about self-love when you feel like you should be further along than you really are. And to me, I feel that way. Let me raise my hand because I've had to do a complete 180, had to start over from scratch after getting my divorce. In fact, moving in my own apartment, thinking I was ready to step out there on my own. And then currently, right now, I'm living with my parents. And so it's just really has caused me to just do a double take and to look back and reflect back on the choices and decisions that I've made. And so I'm not just telling you these things, I'm living the things that I am talking to you about because I feel like I can be further along than I am. And so my life is a book. And so if you follow it, you'll get the pointers, you'll get the revelations, and I want to help as many people as I can on my journey along the way. So if you like what you hear and what I'm describing to you, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button and order my book, Let Love Be Your Guide, Volume 1. I know you won't be disappointed, okay? So I just want to tell you a story just about me. And so after my divorce, um, I began to, you know, jump into another relationship thinking that I was ready. And that necessarily it wasn't good for me. And so when I stopped myself, and it really came to a halt when the guy who I was talking to, he actually broke it off with me and told me, I think you need to do some self-work. And I'm looking at him like, what? Self-work? I love myself. I know about myself more than you. And so when he told me that, it kind of hit me. And I started to reflect because indeed, the same guy who I was talking to, he kind of reminded me of my ex-husband. And so when I started to think about the pros and cons list and who he was and who I was attracting and who I was attracted to, I said, you know what? I do need to do some self-work. So I started the digging process. I started to say, okay, Dominique, you need a therapist. And that was the first thing. I incorporated a therapist into my I incorporated a therapist into what I was doing. And so when I started to speak with the therapist, and she just told me, like, you suffer from, rejection. And there are ways to help you cope and deal with rejection. And so I'm going to show you how. The first thing I had to really, tell my therapist about how this was affecting me, and how, rejection as a child, how it affected me as well. And so at that point, when she started to break things down and tell me what I needed to know, I was like, wow, I never thought about it like that. And then also, I started to just think about how I never really grieved the loss and the death of my mother. And so at a young age, I lost my mother when I was 1 year old. And me and my brother, we were raised by our grandparents. And my sister, she lives in Milwaukee with my aunt and uncle, but she was raised by them. And so I never really got a chance to grieve the death of my mom at that young age. And it didn't hit me again until I lost my uncle, who was the closest person to my mother, because I used to always ask him questions about her, like, hey, how was my mom? Was she like this? Was she like that? And when I lost him, I was truly devastated, because just the way we lost him, um, it was tragic. But, you know, it really left some questions, and I had to start digging more, doing more self-work, right? This thing of knowing yourself, and knowing what's going on with you. The fact that, again, I'm grieving the loss of my mom and my uncle at the same time. I am healing the wounds of rejection from my childhood, not getting the affection that I needed as a child. And this is no knock, on my grandparents, the way they raised us, but it's something that they didn't have the tools to provide us with. And so in doing so, I had to again dig in the bucket, because I'm an adult now. I have to do my own self work. I have to heal these places in me. I have to do better and be better for my children. And so in moving forward, um, fleshing out the rejection, getting just the grieving process. I'm still grieving, my mom and my uncle. A lot of days are better than others, but I'm like, Lord God, I should be much further along than where I am right now. Like, I lost, the house that I had with my ex-husband. I lost, the only thing that God kept me intact was my mind. Okay, my mind. And that's the only thing. And I think when we talk about having peace, that's the only thing that has kept me. And that's why, for me, my faith is so important. And just sharing this, what I know, with others is so important to me. And so, if all you have is your peace right now, if all you have is your joy, if all you have is something that God gave you, hold on to that. Hold on to that peace. Hold on to that joy. Hold on to whatever it is He gave you. Hold on to the promise. Hold on to the dream, because it will come to pass if you keep believing and if you hold on to it. He'll do just what He said. And so, the only thing again that kept me was God, and the peace that I had, knowing that everything would be okay, and me trusting in God daily. And so I just said all that to say that I want you to know that even though you are not where you want to be right now, just know that where you want to be, it's coming. You may not be there at this very moment, but it's coming. And so I want to submit to you a Bible verse that I looked it up, and I was like, man, this just corresponds to what I'm talking about. And it's Isaiah 43:18-19. And sometimes within the podcast, I am going to bring in scriptures, because I think it's important that we stand firm on God's word and what He has said about us and what He gives to us. Right. And so I'll be unpacking them sometimes. But it says, remember not the former things, nor consider the things of old. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. And so let's just talk about remembering not the former things. Let's not remember the things of the past. nor consider the things of the old, things that God has delivered us, like what we're used to or what's comfortable. I believe he's saying that. Um, don't remember the things of um, what used to get to you, you know, nor consider the things, the old way of doing things. When I think about that, I think about, religion. So, and not being focused on a relationship with God. But it says that I am doing a new thing in you. And so when God is doing a new thing, he calls us into a different space. He calls us into a different season. That's when seasons takes place in our life. And the very thing for me, I just related to my life. What I'm going through right now, I feel like is a direct indication. He's just preparing me and giving me the skills that I need to be able to thrive in my next season, because I can't take this old me or the old way of thinking or what the things that I used to do into this new season that he's calling me into. I want to say that again. You can't take the old way of thinking, the old way of doing things into this new season that you're about to go into, because there's a different version of you that God is calling you to be, so that you can be successful, so that you can break the chains, so that you can break the curse, so that you can build generational wealth, so that you can build generational health, so that you can build an empire, so that you can start the book, so you can start the business, so you can write a TV show, so that you can write a song, so that you can be creative. The old version of you can't go into the new season. I'm sorry, it can. And if it does, it's going to kill whatever it is God is preparing you for. So let me just say that. That verse just reminds me of that. And just whenever God does a new thing, he does it untraditionally. He doesn't do it the way that we always think that it's going to be done. I think about just how God has made ways for me. I thought it was going to be or go a different way. And then God's like, no, this is my way of doing things. And he's called people into my situation and into just anything. And I'm like, wow, that way you bless me. And it really surprised me, really shocked me. And God is like, what do you think? I'm God. I can call the universe into existence. I made it. And so I'm God. He's God. And so the same way that he's doing for me and has provided, God can call anybody to come and help you. And so I want you to keep that in your mind. And then lastly, the verse says, I will make a way in the wilderness. So that means in your wilderness season, when it looks like you're going through the forest and there's nobody to help, he says, I'll make a way, and rivers in the desert. So he'll give you a stream that flows and that gives you that life, that gives you the strength to go on, that gives you the love, that gives you the forgiveness, that gives you the peace to keep going. And so that's what I want to say to you. God is going to make a way, but it's going to require a different version of you. Now, 3 points that I want to get to, and those are what I've got. This life lesson, this revelation that I've gotten is, number one, embrace where you are right now. So you have to embrace where you are, because if you don't, and if you don't have an attitude of gratitude, you're going to throw yourself right back into another space where you don't want to be. So embrace where you are. Take and learn from right now, get what you need so that you can move on to the next phase, to the next chapter, because this is a test. This is a test on how you are going to handle the next season. If God can't trust you with this right here, he can't move you to the next. So embrace where you are right now. Number 2, again, your new season is going to require a new you. This next level that you've been praying about, that you've been talking about, that you've been pushing forward to, that you've been yearning to get to, that you've been hoping for, that you've been dreaming for, that you have wanted God to give to you, it's going to require a new you. So you have to get this lesson now, not later, but right now, right now. Okay. You got to get it. If not, you're only prolonging the process. It's not going to happen until you get it. So you might as well embrace it, get it, and let's move on. Okay, so you can come into the promised land. And then lastly, thirdly, your promised land possesses the dream life, that you will need these very skills that you are honing right now to truly be successful. So again, whatever your dream is, it may be a business that you want to open up. It may be a book that you want to write. It may be a clothing line that you want to start. It may be a church that you want to start. It may be a ministry that you want to renew. There may be anything, whatever it is, you're honing the skill right now. You need this season in order to thrive in your next season. And so God is pushing you toward that so hard, and he's wanting it for you. The thing is, he's already given it to us. We already have it, but he has to perfect us, and perfect in us a clean heart. He has to perfect some things so that when we get there, when we get to the promised land, when we get to the dream, when we get to the book, we can keep it. Okay? We can keep it. And I want to just put that on your spirit, that whatever it is you're asking God for, whatever it is you want him to do in your life, he's taking you through what you're going through so that in the long run, you will be able to sustain this level of success. You will be able to sustain this level of freedom, that you will be able to sustain this level of discipline in the next season, in what you're going through. So I just want to say that I know I'm not where I want to be, but I'm taking into consideration again that I know where I want to go. I know where I see myself. And I know, if I'm honest with myself, I can't be this me and go into the next season. The old Dominique can't go into this new season. What I've been asking and dreaming and praying about. And just to end this, listen, don't let nobody tell you that you can't do what you've been dreaming of, what God put on your heart. He has already given you the authority. He has already given you everything you need, dominion over the place. He's just waiting for you to believe and walk into it. And listen, don't let nobody ever tell you that rest ain't important. And yeah, I said it ain't correct, but rest is important. Sometimes you got to stop and rest. You can't work, and then expect to, be successful and really thrive, because even God rested. Even God had rest. So this idea of working, I'll sleep when I die, stop that. You're going to kill yourself. You're not going to be able to live. You're not going to be able to thrive. So I want the best for you. I want the best for your life. If you've liked what you've heard from me, please click the like, subscribe, and do me a favor. If this helped you or blessed you in any way, share this with somebody else. Share it with somebody else who you know needs to hear this. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you coming back each week. I'm back. Did take a rest, did take a break because it was very well needed. But thank you again for supporting. Thank you for loving on me, and thank you for believing in me. That at the end of the day, you got to go for it, and you're going to achieve it. And even though you think that you should be somewhere else, you are right where you need to be. I love you. God bless you. And until next time, let love be your guide in life today, forever, and always. Bye.